Hello, everyone. This is Steve O'Reilly with SkinnyPost.com, and I'm pleased to be joined today with John Thornton, a 10-year NFL veteran, played with the Tennessee Titans and the Cincinnati Bengals. John was a part of the Super Bowl Tennessee team back in 2000. He was also the 2008 nominee for the Bengals for the Bart Starr Award for all of his excellent work and outstanding character and leadership in the community. And we're pleased to be joined with John today. Thanks for joining us here at SkinnyPost.com.
Thanks for having me on.
Our pleasure. In a couple days here, you have an event coming up, Bowling for Autism, that this is the 8th annual event that you have been a part of. Tell us a little bit about how that started and how those type of things have matured through the years and the relationships you've built with the Autism Society.
Well, my wife and I, we started back in Nashville after we had our first son. He had a very bad case of colic, and so he just had some symptoms that my wife wanted to check into as far as being autistic. And he was very young, so we had no idea of knowing. But the more that we learned about, autistic kids in the Autism Society down in Middle Tennessee, down in Nashville, the more we decided to help. And so, my son turned out fine. He didn't have autism, but just knowing a lot about it like we did, once we learned about it, we decided to help. So in 2002, we had a bowling event and we had a dinner at Morton's and we raised, some money for the Autism Society. And so one of the first things we did when we came to Cincinnati, when we signed here, we called the Autism Society and said, hey, we're bringing this event up here and we would like to help. So that's how it got started. Our first one here was in 2004, but the previous year back in Nashville was when we had our first one there.
Okay, you're also the creator of Jockbiz, which is an organization that assists pro athletes with their brand and promotion in a positive way through community involvement. Talk a little bit about how you work with players and what is that organization all about?
Well, I mean, it was simple for me because everywhere that I've been, I mean, coaches always told the players that we brought in, hey, follow him or, do the same things that you see him do or, things of that nature. So, I mean, that's just how I had my career. And so when I got done, I just said, okay, I'm going to help guys do the same thing I did. I'm going to help them not only do right on the field and do right in the meeting room, constantly working out in the off season, but then off the field because I was very heavily involved in the community. I think probably around my third year, I started getting involved in community. And I saw that had a positive impact on the team. It really affected the way the team viewed me. Not only in Nashville, I didn't stay there, but I think that was a money issue. But the team liked me there. And even when I got here in Cincinnati, I think that the way that I handled myself out in the community, it allowed me to play an extra few years because I was one of the good guys, along with being a decent player. So I think at some point your career can add some value to you as a player.
Absolutely. Now, how do you get in touch with the players that you deal with? Do they reach out to you, or do you reach out to them, or how does that work?
Well, we just started. My partner and I, Charles Fisher, he was a scout for 8 years. He played in the league. He tore his knee up, and then he got right into scouting. So he actually came out with me in 1999. But I mean, for me, doing the community stuff, it's been a lot of guys here in Cincinnati that I worked with that I knew already. So, I mean, we started in June and we started working with 3 or 4 players. Charles Fisher was really good friends with Darrelle Revis. We both were friends with Darrelle Revis from when he was younger. Charles and Darrelle is from the same hometown. And so, we started working with Darrelle. And then, I mean, just along the way, there were guys that we helped training wise. So that's how it's really been a word of mouth to this point. And this year we're adding on to our guys. We had 2 or 3 more guys that want to work with us. So I would just say it's word of mouth at this point. It started here locally in Cincinnati, but now that I'm done playing, I can travel. If I had a guy in Oakland, I could go out there and set him up in the community. I know people there. So, I mean, just saying any city, I think I have some connections and I can help guys anywhere.
Now, in your dealings, have you dealt with people or players, I should say, that maybe have a little troubled past or have gone through some times in their life where they've done some things that maybe they regret doing, but are not bad people, in their core? How do you help them change their image or try to get the positive that they really have, but sometimes the media and the fans just don't see.
Well, I mean, we had a guy like that, guy in Frosty Rucker. He got into some trouble at USC before his senior year. He gets drafted. He had some charges pressed against him after he was drafted from the year before. So he sort of got a bad rap. I don't know what happened back there at USC, but once he came here, he handled himself the right way. And I was around him for about 2 or 3 years, so I sort of knew him as the person. And then when I got done, he was a guy that I started working with. And I think, and he was doing a lot of community service stuff here in Cincinnati because he had to. But then he came to me and said, "Hey, man, I want to do some of the stuff on my own outside of this stuff that I have to do." And so I knew that he was serious about it. So he's one of the guys that we helped, and it really helped him with the team. They ended up giving him an extension from a guy that's not even a starter. So that's something to where I can see that helping the player out because the team sees he's becoming more professional. He's really getting involved in the community. It's helping the community out and it's helping him out. So he was an example of a guy who may have had a bad name somewhere else, but those that know him know that he was a good guy. So he's one of the guys that we helped in that sense.
Well, that's awesome.